Uganda and Tanzania share a deep historical tie that date back to the pre-colonial era. In recent years, these ties have been rekindled through growing trade and investment partnerships. The Central Corridor is undergoing a major revival, driven by renewed investment in infrastructure such as roads, inland ports and railways. The ongoing transformation is expected to enhance trade efficiency and reduce logistical bottlenecks for businesses in Uganda and the broader East African region.
Tanzanians have realized that, and they are doing all they can to ensure that their route becomes more business friendly, less costlier. And what you are seeing is when they begin pushing for the SGR, if that SGR can now turn into a goods SGR, now you're going to have some reduction in time, some reduction in cost. Now, if you couple that with the EACOP, the East African Crude Oil Pipeline, remember we're taking oil down and coming back with gas. That means the relationship between these two countries will exponentially grow, because now there's bilateral trade. There's actually exchange of goods and services between these two countries. That means it becomes more business friendly, and therefore it becomes easier to negotiate future deals. So whatever Tanzania is doing, it has realized that is going to be its avenue. And remember, Tanzania doesn't focus on Uganda. It's looking at Uganda as the gateway to the Central African republics, the DRC, the Central African Republic, even on to South Sudan. So it is not a small or a mean achievement to say we have the strategy together with Uganda. Anyone who can bring Uganda into the picture as a distribution hub for this Central Africa region has a lot to play.
As a land-linked country, Uganda relies heavily on regional trade corridors to facilitate commerce and economic growth. One of the most significant developments is Tanzania's multi-billion-dollar investment in the standard gauge railway. This Central Corridor project is anticipated to be a game-changer in regional logistics and transportation, significantly reducing cargo transit times and costs to traders.
SGR is very critical. Why? If I can reduce time between the ocean and the inland port at Mwanza, it reduces my cost of doing business. So any infrastructure development that brings goods in and out of the East African region is good for us. So we applaud them for building that SGR. Can we do then the ferries so they are able to move a little bit faster between Mwanza and Port Bell? Those things, if we can do them, then it will be A, less time, B, less costly. And anything that reduces cost of doing business is good for us.
While Tanzania accelerates infrastructure development, the business community in Uganda are urging the government of Uganda to match these efforts by modernizing inland ports and critical road networks that link Uganda to the Central Corridor.
Yes, indeed, Port Bell needs to be rehabilitated to create space for more operators to bring vessels here. For multimodal operations, you need to even have lifting equipment so that containers can be brought here. But at the same time, we are aware of other ports being developed, including Bukasa Port, which will be a multimodal port. So they should complement each other, as well as the Jinja Pier, to allow for seamless marine transport.
With these developments, our appeal to government of Uganda is to spend more resources on Port Bell, because Port Bell is a very good port, a lake port, and if resources are put in place for dragging, for expanding the area on which the vessels can dock, because we are going to have many more vessels. As I've mentioned, we have MV Pemba, now we are having MV Mpungu, and more of them are coming up because the investors are getting an interest in it as a solution. And we traders and shippers, we are pushing for this. So government, we appeal that resources are allocated more on developing this Port Bell.
Without such improvements, Uganda risks falling behind in regional trade competitiveness.
In Port Bell, we can have a lot more infrastructure which will enable bigger vessels to come. So you understand, like there is a immense potential for growth in across Lake Victoria, not just in Port Bell.
And as URC and under African Development Bank, we intend to procure other vessels to supplement what is on the lake. We are looking at having a multimodal, multi-purpose vessel for containerization, for containers. And this is in preparation for SGR, which will be coming to Mwanza very soon.
It's not about speaking about these things all the time, it's actually doing these things. So what the Tanzanians are doing, which we have to do very quickly, is the Tanzanians are very deliberate. If it's about infrastructure, they are going to develop the infrastructure. I don't know how you say it properly in Swahili, kama mbaya ni mbaya, you have to do it. And for them, they are very deliberate. For us, we are good at talking and putting the policies in place, but the actual doing is where we don't get it right.
The trade thrives on mutual benefit, an exchange of goods and services and ideas that leaves both parties better off.
But business can't keep waiting for you as and when you feel like, so you'll come. No, some business will just simply walk away. And the challenge with the manufacturing sector or industrial sector, they won't announce they are walking away. They just simply walk away. And we need to start knowing that infrastructure development and the movement to ensure reduction in cost of doing business in Uganda goes down quite fast.
The ongoing revitalization of the Central Corridor presents a golden opportunity for Uganda to expand its trade footprint, but this will only be fully realized if the government takes deliberate action to improve infrastructure on its side.